Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is October 31st, 2025, and the Spotify Camp Nou could host the Champions League final. Also, Barcelona currently eyeing a 16-year-old Brazilian talent. Also, the club eyeing an Argentine striker, and I'm going to tell you who it is. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Maverick. Today my name is not Mo. Today my name is Maverick. Of course, I'm talking about Top Gun because today is Halloween. So happy Halloween, everyone. This is my makeshift costume. Today at work we had a costume contest and I didn't have one. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to be the only one without a costume. So I literally went on Google. I Googled the patches for the Top Gun movie, printed them, cut them out. This is paper, by the way. Cut them out. And then taped it on my jacket. So here's my Top Gun. This is my Top Gun costume. I decided, why not? Let's wear it since it is Halloween. So happy Halloween, everyone. And welcome to the podcast where not only we discuss Barcelona news, but where I also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering your questions, and getting that discussion going. So start dropping your questions and your comments in the chat section. For those of you who will be watching when the podcast ends, I will be putting timestamps in the description, the chat in the timeline, in case you do want to skip through the discussion and get straight into the news. Having said all that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. All this helps the channel continue to grow. If you're looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure to Goal Kids, Kit Bag, or Fanatics. And if y'all looking to place any sports bets, make sure to bet us. All links are down below in the description. All right, let's start with the news. And you know what? I know I just explained my costume at the beginning during the intro, but a lot of people skip the intro and go straight into the news. So now I'm going to include this in case for people who are watching this when it ends and they click on the first segment of the news. They're like, why is Mo dressed up like that? It's Halloween. So happy Halloween. I'm Maverick from Top Gun. That's my costume. But anyways, all right, let's start with the news. It started with today's training session because look who was back during training. It was no other than Pau Cubarsí. As you know, Pau Cubarsí had missed training the last 2 days because, well, with the permission of the club. Initially, we didn't know why. And now we have found out that, it's due to load management, right? The coaches, fitness trainers decided that Cubarsí could use some extra rest. They don't want him to get injured. And we can have, the same ordeal with Pedri. So instead, he was given permission not to train. But today, Pau Cubarsí is back. He's not injured. He's not ill. He's totally fine. Those were just some extra rest days so he can, be fully recovered and not risk his injury or risk on muscle overload. Cubarsí is back, and he should be available for the match, this weekend match against Elche. Now, another player that was, of course, present in training was no other than Robert Lewandowski, who is expected to receive the green light during this either tomorrow or Sunday the latest, but most likely tomorrow. And Lewandowski should be available for the match against Elche. And that's, of course, great news because when he initially got injured while on international duty with Poland, it was expected that he could be out for around 4 weeks. But the Polish striker has recovered much faster than expected. Even surprised the doctors at Barcelona. Doctors at Barcelona were like, whoa. Why is this guy recovering so fast? But he has recovered a lot faster than initially expected. He was supposed to be out much longer than this, and he should be fit for this weekend match against Elche. And also, we could receive the green light for Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo also completed another group training session today. So Dani Olmo could be also declared fit for the weekend match against Elche. And this, of course, is also good news because even though right now Fermin, I think, is a starter ahead of Olmo. Olmo could also potentially be a starter if he gets his act together. Lewandowski is also a potential starter. So we're talking about two potential starters back in the lineup, or at least we hope so. For sure, Lewandowski, I think, against Elche. We'll see how Dani Olmo does. But I think for sure Lewandowski, but hopefully both. Now, it is reported that today, Laporta visited the training grounds and in order to speak once again to the team to try to kind of like encourage them after what happened during the Clásico match. I gotta say, I'm starting not to like this. I'm starting not to like this one bit. Now, I talked about this. This was, I think, last week. No, this week. It hasn't been that long. This week, I think it was Monday's podcast. I told you about how, Sunday was the Clásico match. We lose, right? Monday was the recovery session, and Laporta dropped in on the locker room and gave a speech, like a short speech to motivate the players, to let them know this was just one setback. The season is long. They can still, come back, but they have to, come together and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know if I like this because, as Johan Cruyff always used to say, there has to be a separation between locker room and the administrative part of the club, right? That every coach, any coach who coaches Barcelona cannot allow, whether it's the president or the sporting director or anybody from the board of directors, into his locker room because that's his domain. The players should see him as the maximum authority. The players should respect him. And any coach should not allow anybody from the board of directors into the locker room because that undermines the authority of the coach. Johan Cruyff used to always say that. And I always talked about how it was a big mistake for Xavi to let Laporta and Deco constantly into the locker room, constantly talking to the players, dropping on practices, blah, 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 because that undermined his authority. And now I see Laporta doing this for a second time. First time I was like, all right, fine. We just lost the Clásico match. It was a big blow. I get it. But again, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. I hope Flick can put a stop to this because, look, Laporta has a message for the players. You go to Flick's office. They're like, yo, this is my message. Please relay it. And then Flick goes into the locker room and tells the players because that should be his domain. He should be the maximum authority in the locker room. He should be the only one giving messages to the players and indications, and he should be the maximum authority again. And by Laporta dropping in, I think that undermines his authority. And again, I don't like this. So Laporta, please do not do the same thing that you to Flick that you did to Xavi. It undermines his authority. Stay in your lane. You're the president of the club. Flick is the coach. Stay in your lane. Administer the club and let Flick administer the locker room. Stay in your fucking lane. All right, let's start with the comment section. And now that I think I'm going to have to take my sunglasses off. So there goes the costume. But again, I'm Maverick from Top Gun. And I guess you guys get it now. Anyways, let's do the comment section. Of course, I do need my glasses because I'm an old man. I cannot read with just sunglasses on. Klaus says, happy Friday, Mo. Thank you, Klaus. Happy Friday to you too. And happy Friday to everybody watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend ahead of you. Sunday, we have a match. Of course, I do the watch along. Tomorrow is the MoCast, which reminds me, currently holding a raffle for channel members only. The winner will be picked tomorrow. So if you want to be included in the raffle, you still have time to become a member because tomorrow I'll be picking the winner out of the channel members. And of course, the winner will get to take home a Barcelona kit of their choosing. It could be home, away, third kit, whatever size they want, name and number printed on the back. Barca Mama says, happy Halloween, Mo. Wore a Messi jersey and some horns and went as the GOAT today. I love it. I love it. Happy Halloween to you, Barca Mama, and happy Halloween to everyone celebrating today. And Night Game says the UCL final at Spotify Camp Nou would be fire. Both teams will get many fans. I'll talk about that. McBarca says, Bo, looking sharp. Thank you, thank you. And Valley says, why didn't you dress up as Shirky Dude? Was I supposed to? Did I make a promise? Remind me, Valley. Football Content says, hey, Mo, I'm Fabrice from Cameroon. Can't join the raffle. YouTube doesn't allow us to here to do so many things. That's interesting. I did not know that. Does YouTube not allow you to become a member, or what exactly is it that YouTube does not allow you to do? Let me know. I'm very curious. I did not know that there were restrictions in other countries on what you can and can't do on YouTube. So please let me know. I would be very curious to know. And let's see. Brahim says, we're not winning any trophies this year. Unfortunately, I can't see it. Well, hopefully you're wrong. I would hate to be this pessimistic. We're only like, 9th or 10th fixtures throughout the match. I hope you're wrong. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Diamond says, hi, Mo. Happy to be on the live chat. And I'm watching from Rhode Island. Hope there's a great news today. There's some good news. There's some good news. And speaking of good news, let's move on to the next bit of news, because the next bit of news is good news. And well, the next bit of news is in regards to our beautiful home stadium, or, well, it was already a beautiful home stadium. It's going to be even more beautiful home stadium. The Spotify Camp Nou, our fortress, our historical stadium, because I told you yesterday that Barcelona were going to host an open practice on November 7th, where the first team players would train on the Spotify Camp Nou's pitch, but also fans would be allowed to enter the stadium and watch the practice. Now, what is the new news? Because I already told you this yesterday. Well, the new news is that now Barcelona have officially confirmed this. So this is not rumors. This is not speculation. This is not, Mauro, you're always giving us fake news. Someone told me that once. I was like, well, I don't know. I think I've done a pretty good job of trying to filter or weed out the fake news from the real news. But I don't know. I guess there's always going to be people complaining. But here is the official confirmation from FC Barcelona confirming the return to the Spotify Camp Nou. I'll make this a little bit bigger, but it reads as follows. The FC Barcelona men's football first team will officially return to the Spotify Camp Nou next Friday, November 7th, to hold an open training session in front of the Barca fans who are excited at the prospect of seeing the team in the stadium once more. The session will also serve as technical and operational tests to ensure the proper functioning of systems, access points, and various aspects of the facility as part of the stadium's gradual reopening process. The training will be at 11 a.m. local time, and the Spotify Camp Nou will open its doors at 9:30. The capacity will be limited to 23,000 spectators located in the main stand and goal sud areas, corresponding to Phase 1A, for which the club already holds the first occupancy license. So this pretty much confirms word for word what I told you yesterday. The Barcelona will hold an open training session on November 7th. The first team will train on the pitch of the Camp Nou. The fans will be allowed to enter, and it'll be 23,000 people. Because as you know by now, Barcelona have a license, have the occupancy license for Phase 1A, which was 2 sections of the stadium that can house up to 27,000 people. But of course, given that the Olympic Stadium has double the capacity, we're still going to play at the Olympic Stadium, even though technically we can play the Elche match at the Camp Nou. Or is the Elche match a away match? I don't know. You get the point. We can technically play a match at the Camp Nou, but we're not going to until Barcelona reopen the Camp Nou for Phase 1B, which is the phase where we can have both lateral stands plus the south stand, and that in total can house 45,000 people. So it makes a lot more sense to go back to the Camp Nou when it can house 45,000 than when it can house only 27,000, because the Olympic Stadium can house 49,000, right? These tickets will be sold. This will not be free, but the prices are pretty low. It's €5, and it's actually right here. €5 for members, €10 for the general public. And this is the cool thing. All proceeds will go to the Pulseras Blaugranas project, promoted by the Barça Foundation, which aims to improve the emotional well-being of hospitalized children and adolescents, as well as their families. So pretty cool that at first I was like, that's kind of tacky. They're going to charge money for an open training. You know, open trainings are always free. But it's pretty affordable, €5 and €10. I think that's pretty affordable. And all the proceeds will be donated to charity. So I think really cool move by Barcelona, proving indeed that they are más que un club. So really good news here. The team will be back at the Camp Nou after, 2 years and 5 months? Because the last time we were there, I think it was May of 2023. Almost 6 months, because, well, no, it is 6 months, because November. So 2 years and a half later, the first team will finally step foot back at the Camp Nou. Of course, it's not going to be an official match. It's going to be practice. But nonetheless, it's really good to see that the Camp Nou is slowly reopening. And plus, as the announcement says, this will serve as a great test, because they're going to be watching how the 23,000 people enter the stadium, move about the stadium, go to their seats, come out of their seats, exit the stadium. And that's all going to give the engineers, the construction company, and everyone else a better idea of how to manage the construction of the stadium once the stadium reopens and the people are back in there. Because remember, when people go back, it's expected November 22nd for Athletic Club de Bilbao match. There's still going to be construction, right? There's still the third ring is going to be being built until 2027. So the engineers are going to want to know, where to place the equipment, because it's going to be a construction site. Match day comes, you have to put everything away. You have to move the machinery out of the way. You have to move the all the material out of the way. So this gives them a better idea on where to put everything when people are going to be using the stadium. And now to the second segment of this second segment, because yes, there is two segments to this segment, is in regards to the Champions League. Because ladies and gentlemen, UEFA have confirmed that the Spotify Camp Nou is in the run to host the 2029 Champions League final. Now, Barcelona submitted a bid to host the final of the Champions League in 2029, and UEFA has selected the Camp Nou, and the other finalist is Wembley. So the Camp Nou and Wembley are going to go head-to-head, and one of those two stadiums will be chosen to host the 2029 Champions League final. Now, Wembley has hosted the Champions League a million times, so UEFA, come on, pick the Camp Nou. Now, the Camp Nou has hosted the Champions League final twice, in the 1988-1989 season and in the 1998-1999 season, which is when Manchester United beat Bayern Munich. A very historical Champions League final. I'm pretty sure that's when Man U won the treble with Beckham. Correct me if I'm wrong. I wasn't really watching football when that happened. I was 8 or 9 years old. But I'm pretty sure that year is when Man U with Beckham won the treble in the Champions League final was at the Camp Nou. So that was the last time we hosted it. That's if we hosted in 2029, we're talking about 30 years. 30 years. Come on, UEFA. Wembley does not need another Champions League final, okay? But how cool would it be if Barcelona makes the final and it's at the Camp Nou in 2029? Wouldn't that be awesome? But anyways. All right, let's get back to the comment section, and then we'll continue with the news. But we have Lamine. All right, Lamine, bro. Go to sleep. It's pretty late. Says, hi, dude. How are you today? Hope you are well and fine. But as a Barcelona fan and as a Lamine Yamal fan, you are looking very handsome and angry dancing. Well, thank you, my friend. Valley says the Lamine surgery news is frightening. Do you remember the penalty Lamine won versus Vallecano? Is that where the injury occurred? I haven't heard anything about surgeries. Am I missing something? But I'm not sure when the injury happened. Johnny says, hello, greetings from Chicago. Deep dish pizza is waiting for you. Last chance, Maverick. Emergency landing will take you only a few minutes. I'm on my way. I love deep dish pizza, by the way. I know, New Yorkers are always like, nah, New York pizza is better. And then people in Chicago are like, nah, deep dish is better. Honestly, I like both. They're too different. You can't really pick. I mean, New York style pizza, it's on the go. You just grab it and you go about your day, eat, and you're walking down the street and eating a slice. And deep dish is more like a sit down. They're so different. I like both. But yeah, I would love a deep dish pizza. What's it called? Right about now. Football content says we can't monetize. We don't have ads shown. We cannot join channels, etc. Oh, that's interesting. You can't monetize. You don't have ads shown, and you can't join channels. That is very interesting. I had no idea. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. And with that, let's get back to the news. By the way, I'm going to try to do the podcast as fast as possible. I apologize. I do have to be somewhere. I'm going to a show. I got invited to a show, a Halloween show. Never seen it. Going to be my first time. So let's get back to the news because we do have to talk about an Argentine striker that Barcelona have added to their list. It is no other than Joaquin Panicelli. Now, as you know, Barcelona are scouting the market for a replacement for Robert Lewandowski because, as you know, summer 2026, Lewandowski is out and about. He's going to the retirement home. He's going to be playing bingo and domino and eating jello and just enjoying his retirement. I'm kidding. He's only 37. He'd be 38. That's old for football, but it's pretty young for life. But Lewandowski will be leaving in the summer of 2026, so Barcelona have been scouring the market for possible replacements. We've talked about several names. We've talked about people like Kirasi, Etayong, Aslani, and now another name has been added to the list, and that name is Joaquin Panicelli. Now, Joaquin Panicelli, 23-year-old center forward, he's Argentinian, was formed in the River Plate Academy. He spent some time in La Liga. In fact, he spent 18 months at Alaves. Then he joined the Ligue 2 which is the second division of French football, at a team called Mirandés. I think that's how you say it. It's spelled Mirandés. I guess if you want to like really butcher it, it's Mirandés, but I think it's Mirandés. Anyways, joined the second division league last season, and now he is playing at Strasbourg in the league. In other words, in first division French football. Now, his contract with Strasbourg is until 2030, and he's already making waves because so far he has scored 10 goals in 13 matches. Not bad. Not bad whatsoever. Now, there is some interest in Joaquin Panicelli, including AC Milan out of the Serie A. And say it with me on 3, 2, 1. Chelsea. Yes, Chelsea are interested in Joaquin Panicelli. And here, when it comes to Chelsea, Barcelona are a little bit at a disadvantage. Why? Because Chelsea have the same owners as Strasbourg. So, usually when you have two teams owned by the same company, they're more likely to move players, shuffle players around between the clubs that same company owns. We see that all the time with, for example, Manchester City, right? What was that Brazilian guy who played for Girona? He ended up going to Man City because, they could just shuffle players around like that. So Barcelona, a little bit of a disadvantage there because Chelsea won him and the same owner owns Strasbourg. But nonetheless, another name added to the list, Joaquin Panicelli, 23, out of Strasbourg. Now, if you've seen Panicelli play, let me know. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Do you think he'd be a good fit? Let me know in the comment section or in the chat section if you're watching this live. All right, let's get back to the chat section, and then we are going to talk about another prospect that Barcelona are currently monitoring, but the next one is out of Brazil. Street Fighter says, en mi país no tenemos Halloween. Street Fighter says in his country, they don't have Halloween. Where are you from, Street Fighter? I'm very curious. If you would like to share with us. If not, I understand. But let me know. I'm curious. All right, let's see. Kenneth says, I like your style. Thank you for all the information. Happy birthday to Rashford. Thank you, my friend. And yes, I forgot to mention, today is Rashford's birthday. He even received the, what is it called? I forgot. It's when like the players line up on both sides and you're running through the middle and everybody hits you on the head. I guess the guard of honor. I don't know what it's called in English. But yeah, Rashford received that during practice because, yes, it is his birthday. KBTV says, Joaquin Panicelli, the club he plays for, Chelsea own the club, so guarantee he's going to end up in Chelsea for the next season. Yep, that's what I just said. And let's see. KBTV also saying, the guy from Cameroon, all you have to do is use a VPN and put it on a state in America, and he will see the join button. But when you do, pay yourself to watch a whole heap of ads on American YouTube. That's a good idea. Yeah. VPNs are always helpful. I use a VPN when I travel because, I have these subscription services to watch La Liga, to watch the Champions League. But when I go to another country, those subscription services don't work. So I turn the VPN on. Obviously, I select the US, and then I can watch the matches using my stream services that I pay for. All right, let's see. Oh, my God. My nose just started itching like crazy. No, it's not Coke. It's allergies. Klaus says, I have never been to New York. Are the Ninja Turtles real? If so, you have to meet one. I think they were in the 90s. But then, they got gentrified. It became too expensive to live in the city. So they had to move out. So they're no longer here. They're either in Jersey or somewhere in Long Island, maybe Staten Island. Definitely not in the city anymore, though. They got priced out. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see. Rex says, you are right about the 1998 UCL final. Bayern versus United was treble season for United, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer scored the winner to make 2 goals, 2-1 with David Beckham, Giggs, Roy Keane, York Cole. Yeah, that was one hell of a Man U. I didn't really watch them back then because I was too young. I didn't care about football. I was too busy. I mean, I did care about football, but not watching it. I would go out and play it on the street with my friends. But I did watch a lot of highlights and like documentaries about that Man U. One hell of a team. Gotta say that. And Choo-Choo with the donation. Thank you so much, my friend, for your generosity. Choo-Choo says, hello, Mo. Just saying hi. Well, hello to you too, Choo-Choo. Happy Halloween. Are you celebrating Halloween? Are you wearing a costume? If so, what costume it is? What are you doing? Where are you going? Let us know if you want to share your plans, of course. If not, I understand. But as you can see, I am Maverick. Oh, wait. It's this side. There you go. Wait, let me take off Choo-Choo's comment. There we go. I got my Maverick patch. By the way, all this is paper. I printed it, cut it, taped it with, I didn't even have regular tape, so I had to use, this is tape for painting, by the way. And that's what I use to tape these things to my jacket. So you gotta do what you gotta do. Anyways, let's get back to the news. Let's do the last bit of news because I do have to go. But let's do the last bit of news, and the last bit of news in regards to another player that Barcelona are currently eyeing. As you know, Deco has really good connections in Brazil. He is Brazilian after all. Yes, he did play for Portugal, but he is Brazilian. So has really good connections in the Brazilian market. Connections so good that he brought us Vitor Roque. Made us waste money on pretty much a total flop. But hey, forget about it. And now, Barcelona are reportedly eyeing another Brazilian talent, and it's no other than Gustavo Sabarelli. Now, Gustavo Sabarelli, he's a 16-year-old midfielder. He plays more as a number 10. You know, can distribute the ball, score goals, provide assists, organize the attack. So he can play, you know, as your traditional South American number 10. You know, when you think of 10s, people like, you know, Pelé, Maradona, Messi, that kind of player. I'm not saying that he's good as them. I'm just saying that kind of profile. So 16 years old, number 10, currently plays in the lower categories of Sao Paulo. And they're saying he's a very promising player. Now, he is left-footed, has really great technical ability, and really good with the ball. You know, what you would expect kind of like a 10, do fancy dribbling, fancy footwork. This guy has it. In fact, he's attracted attention from many European clubs, including Benfica and Ajax, and of course, Barcelona. Now, Sao Paulo are currently in some financial trouble, so they are looking to actually have been already offloading academy players. So Gustavo Sabarelli, given the interest he's getting from Europe, could be next. And here's the plus. Gustavo Sabarelli has an Italian passport. Now, why is this a plus? It's not because he might know how to cook pasta really good. It's because by having European citizenship, there are two benefits. The number one is, as you know, teams in Europe have a cap on how many foreign players they can have on their team. So by having an Italian passport, a European passport, that's not a problem. And B, this is the big one, by having an Italian passport, he can make a move to Europe before the age of 18. Because remember, within Europe, players, they can move around before they're 18. You can sign a player if he's 15, 16, whatever. If they're coming from anywhere else in the world, Africa, South America, North America, Asia, whatever, they have to be 18 or older. Since Gustavo Sabarelli has an Italian passport, he's European, technically, he can make a move before he's 18 years old. And his agent, Giuliano Bertolucci, is keen on bringing him to Europe before he turns 18. Now, who's Giuliano Bertolucci? He's the same agent of Coutinho. So he has good relationship with Barcelona. Of course, he brought us Coutinho, and it was a total flop. Let's hope this guy is not a total flop. But Gustavo Sabarelli, another name that Barcelona are currently closely tracking. And honestly, if he ends up costing just a few mil, I'm all for it. Like I said, I'm all about signing young, promising players for very little money because it's honestly a win-win. If they end up working out, great. You just sign the next best thing for nothing. If they don't work out, that's okay. You only spent a few mil versus, you know, spending 150 on friggin' Dembele so you can spend the whole time in a hospital. Plus, usually, even if they don't work out, let's say you pay 3-4 mil for a youngster and he doesn't work out, you can still recover that money. You can still sell him for the same price, maybe even a little bit more, because now they have Barcelona on their resume. So you can either break even, or maybe even make a little bit. And even if you can't break even or make a little bit, the loss is very minimal. And again, this is only if it doesn't work out. If it does, you just hit the jackpot. So we'll see how much Sao Paulo will want Gustavo Savarelli, but another name that Barcelona are currently scouting. Now, let's do a few more comments, and then I do have to go. I do apologize. I do have to go. I got to be at a show at 9 p.m., and it's already 8:10. I'm always late, by the way. I'm chronically late. Yeah, don't ever invite me to somewhere. Or if you do, lie to me. And if it's at 7, tell me it's at 6, because I'm going to be there at 7. Gomez says, hi, Mo. It's good catching your live video. After a while, I must salute your analysis and review of the team after the loss Madrid. What's the status of Rafinha currently? Well, thank you, my friend. Rafinha is still injured. They're saying another 3 to 4 weeks. It's very unfortunate. You know, injuries have not been too kind to us, because if you think about it, we've had Lamine, Rafinha, and Lewandowski all injured. And that's our 3 highest goal scorers, right? Together, they scored 100-plus goals, I think, right? Last season. So it's been unfortunate, but of course, that can never be the excuse, because all teams deal with injuries, and when you have injuries, you have to adapt. Plus, Barcelona have been in bad shape since the second match of the season against Levante, I think. And, you know, during those matches, we actually had all our players healthy. So that's definitely not an excuse, but it also hasn't helped either, right? Chuchu says, no Halloween costume. I got a Halloween party tomorrow night. All right, let's go. I love Halloween. Dun, 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 dun. I need some candy. But unfortunately, when you are in your 30s and you go knocking on people's door, they're not very inclined to give you candy. They're more inclined to calling the police. I don't know. Rex says, Deco also BS Japanese ancestry. Does Deco have Japanese ancestry? I didn't know that. I know he's Brazilian, and then he opted to play for Portugal because early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, good luck playing for Brazil. I mean, that Brazil was stacked. The best Brazil in history. I guess can't really say that, because then there's the Brazil's Pelé. So maybe, I guess, the best Brazil in modern time. How about that? I mean, you talk about Ronaldo, the real Ronaldo, not Penaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, Cafu, Roberto Carlos. Psh, mamma mia. Klaus says, I hope you have an amazing evening, Mo. Have a great time and a fantastic weekend. Thank you, my friend. I hope you have a great weekend as well. Kule says, I'm worried about us not reinforcing the first team. I mean, we can't, right? You can only reinforce in Windows, and, well, from here until the summer transfer market, a lot of things can happen. And my man Hort says, Mo, I'm guessing your costume is a rock star. Don't forget your guitar, brother. No, it's Maverick. Come on. Get it together, bro. Wait, hold on. Let me take off this. Maybe I'll back up a little bit. See? Right here, look. Oh, wait. I'm signaling. I got Top Gun badge right here. I got the... Wait, I got to move this way. I got the Maverick. Can you see that? There you go. The Maverick here. The Squadron. The Texas. Come on, bro. I mean, I did have my aviators before, so maybe that's why it doesn't make sense. But I did have my aviators before. But I had to take them off because, you know, I'm an old man and I got to be able to read. And Richard says, I supported the Ninja Turtles. Yeah, you ain't wrong. They are green after all. And Chuchu says, Brazil were so good at certain striker for Bayern Munich back then, wasn't called up, and he was highest goal scorer. One more, and then I have to go. But Rex says, most white Brazilians and Argentines have Italian ancestry. You can fact check Deco's Japanese ancestry. Yeah, there's also a lot of German ancestry in Brazil. I wonder where those came from. Oops. Ibrahim says, my apologies. I forgot it's podcast day. Mo, Barcelona will scout all these talents in vain. We don't have money. That's not true. I mean, people always like to focus on the players that we did not sign to say, oh, we scout people and we don't sign. But how about the ones we did sign? Because at some point, those players were also interest or people that we were tracking, you know. But Darji at one point was not a Barcelona player, was someone we were scouting, right? Same thing with all the players before him, whether it be Lewandowski or Kunde or Rafinha or Olmo or, you know, all the players that we've signed. At some point, they were just players that we were interested in. You can't just focus on the ones we didn't sign and say we never sign anyone, because we do. You're always going to scout way more than when you sign. You're going to scout. For one position, you might end up scouting 20 people just to sign one. That doesn't mean that, oh, look at all these 19 that we didn't sign, we suck, blah, blah. No, it's because you only need one guy. You can't sign all 20 for that one position because you're only allowed to have 2, right? You're always going to scout more than 1 because you can't just scout one guy and that's it. You have to watch a bunch of people to figure out who fits. And out of all those people, you're going to make a top like 5 or maybe a top 10 list, because not all of them are going to say yes. Some of them are going to be like, no, thank you, I don't want to play with you. Or, okay, yeah, I will play with you, but my salary is too high for you. Or, yes, I want to play for you and my salary is affordable, but my club doesn't want to sell me. Or, yes, I want to play for you, my salary is affordable, my club wants to sell me, but the transfer fee is too high. There's a lot of variables to where that make a signing fail. Okay, make a signing fail. That's why you can't just scout one guy. You have to scout, for one position, you have to scout 20, but you can't sign all 20. So that means you're going to sign 1 and 19 others are going to go away. Does that mean you're failing? No, it's the nature of the game. When you go buy a car, you don't just look at one car and you buy it, right? You shop around. You test. You go to different cars, different dealers. You test drive different cars, and then you pick one. Does that mean you suck because you didn't buy all the other cars that you test drove? No. That you were seeing what your options were, and you picked the best one. Harwemo says, "Lo, I missed the Top Gun logo. My bad. Chains are lit, bro." Thank you, my friend. And Mathematics says, Deco is Vietnamese. Are you guys making this up? Japanese, Vietnamese, Chinese. Deco. Let's see. Let's look Deco up real quick. All right. Anderson Luis de Souza, also known as Deco. Blah, 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 blah. Born in São Bernardo do Campo. Deco spent time in... oh, but that's his early career. I don't care about his early career. Where is his... honestly, what is his background? I don't know. I don't know if it... I can't see. Yeah, it doesn't say anything. It just says that he received Portuguese citizenship in 2002. And that's about it. But yeah, he was born in Brazil. But it doesn't say anything about his ancestry. But anyways. All right, that is all. I gotta go. Happy Halloween, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Tomorrow, the MoCast, I'll be picking a winner for the Barcelona raffle for all the channel members. If you still want to become a member, you still have time. You have about, 14, 15 hours. So you can become a channel member, be included in tomorrow's raffle. The winner will be picked during the MoCast. And of course, the winner will get to pick the kit that they take home. Home, away, third, size, number, name, printed on the back, the whole shebang. And that's it. I am going to make a video later tonight. But once I come back home, I don't know what time that's going to be. It might be like at 3 a.m. all drunk. At least you'll get a funny video out of it. I don't know. We'll see. But there will be a video because there's more news I need to cover. But right now, I do have to go. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, be Barça.